Large language models and privacy. Now, this is something which has been an area of concern for many conversations for the last 2, 3 years, and recently it has spiked up again when we are thinking about IPs and personal information. And yeah, so a lot of conversation and thoughts were going around in my mind when I came across. Big shout out to Isabel Barbera and the report that has been done with the support of European Data Protection Board. It sparked a lot of thoughts in my mind, and I also penned down a blog about it. But just wanted to share a few thoughts, right? So let's look into four major aspects to look into privacy, starting with training data vulnerabilities, um, inference and memorization concerns, RAG system and feedback loops, and finally, bias and discrimination, right? So, LLMs are only as private as the data they are trained on. Now, this is superbly interesting because models tend to absorb personal information, sensitive data, and even copyright materials during training. Now, guardrailing, red teaming, what is the structure, the safety by design architecture you're putting around it? That is what ensures that data sets can be prevented from privacy breaches to be occurring, right? So one really has to think through the safety by design architecture to protect it. The other part is inference and memorization concerns, right? So what tends to happen is LLMs can remember specific training examples and potentially reproduce them during inference. So this phenomena, known as training data extraction, can lead to unintentional disclosure of personal information. So from the training corpus. Retrieval augmented generation systems, or RAG systems as they are called. These are feedback mechanisms to introduce additional privacy concerns. When LLMs reference external knowledge bases or store user interactions for improvement, they create new vectors for potential data leakage in proper if we don't put proper safeguards, then again there is an issue. And then finally, the bias and discrimination risk. So this tends to come in because we have to balance the bias. Data usually does carry some sort of a bias, and having worked on a couple of these models, especially when it comes to discriminatory or disproportionate outputs towards marginalized groups. I personally have worked a lot on the caste hate detection models and these data sets, and have seen it firsthand that there is a lot of bias and discrimination in the data. So, how do we go about mitigating these risks is also really important. So, starting with anonymization techniques. Now, that is a really important methodology. Data minimization. So, implementation of data minimization and differential privacy is extremely important. Robust access to controls. So, encryption of sensitive data, strong access controls, privacy preserving feedback. So, feedback mechanisms are extremely important to avoid personal identifiable data of users to be stored or to be reproduced by the LLM. And then finally, transparency tools. While we are designing LLMs, while we are putting it out there, it is important to have these tools in place. So I really like this framework shared by Isabel and the team. And I think country wise, based on the legal geography of the area, we need to build these mitigation strategies, and people putting out LLMs, foundational models, AI solutions, they need to create a transparency framework through which, or rather, the country needs to create this transparency framework through which these standards can be met. Currently, a lot of innovation is happening at a rapid speed, and that's wonderful and great. But multiple of them are actually missing out on privacy, and there are multiple privacy breaches that we hear about. So, in all the real world applications, when we produce a model, when we put it out there, it is important that we ensure that privacy is protected. So, yeah, these were just some of my thoughts, and I've also put it down in a blog. Would love to engage from a learning perspective. These are just these are very new times. We are all students again, and even at Contrails, we are constantly thinking about how to build the most impactful AI solutions for trust and safety. So these are the thoughts I engage in, and would love to hear from all of you.